Lisa has to, yeah, there we
There we
go.
go.
I
Thank
like
you,
that.
Lisa.
Better
Oh,
idea.
great. Okay.
Mhm.
All right. So let's
Yeah.
go around and Phyllis, you want to start and everybody can introduce themselves and we can hear from our guests.
Okay, Phyllis Coleman. This is I think it's only my third year in the circle. I've been on the communications committee, the Ready committee, and now I'm doing a lot of a lot of different things, Circle Works and others.
Yeah, that's a great one.
And I'm Susan Hovanek. I guess we'll just go in order. I'm one of the two Susans who are co-chairing the Nominating and Leadership Development Committee. Hi, Sarah. And just welcome everybody for joining us today.
Well, I'll pipe up next. I'm Susan Pearl. I am the co-chair this year along with Susan Braddock. We're calling ourselves, we're like the Susan Squared on this committee. That's our thing, or the Susans. You didn't have to be named that to be on the committee. We have a few other people. I think I've been a circle member for about 12 years. I believe I was brought in by a friend who loved it, and it's very dear to me. I've been an archivist. I've been the secretary. I've been head of communications, which is also a great committee, and I've been the circle co-chair during the COVID years. Is remarkable for being remarkable. Now I'm glad to be on nominating.
I'll speak up while we're talking Susans.
There you go.
Hi, I'm Susan Shubin. I'm on nominating. It's my second year, and I've been on post grants many years. I've been on a grant reader several years. I've been on Grantee Connect, and and a while ago they had a visioning committee. I don't know if anyone else remembers that. I did that for a few years. So I am thrilled to be on nominating and thrilled to hear we have people who are interested in pursuing positions.
I'll go. I'm Hillary Campadonico, and I've been a member of the Circle, I think since 2013, and I'm currently on the nominating committee. This is my second year, and I've also been on membership pretty much since I started. I've been a grants reader, and I co-chaired Circle Works for 2 years. I'm glad to be here.
A lot of Circle Works.
Yeah.
Well, I'll go ahead. I'm brand new, so I know nothing.
Welcome.
I just joined, and I think I'm going to be a grants reader starting in January, which I thought was a good way to sort of understand the scope of projects that the organization deals with. Long term, I probably would have some interest in post grant. I'm an urban planner and architect by background. So I thought if there's anything that needs technical advice in those kind of spheres, it might be a good thing for me to do.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Welcome, Barbara.
So
Thank
I'll go next because it's a logical follow-up to Barbara. I'm one of the other Barbaras. And I've been a Circle member since 2018, and I am currently post grants co-chair, Barbara. So you and I will have to talk offline. And I've done a number of things also: grants, post grants, communications committee liaison, mission committee, etc. But I have to say, post grants has really allowed me to get into depth.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about that, as I will with anyone else who's interested.
Great. Thanks for coming today too.
Yeah.
Who have it? Anne, you want to say something?
Sure. Hello, everyone. I'm Ann Daniels. I'm one of the Circle co-chairs. We're really excited to see you all here, both those who've been here a while and those who are new. I joined the Circle in 2008, and I have been on the grants committee I've been on communications. I have been on Grantee Connect. And I have also chaired those 3 committees as well. So I've had a
Wow.
great meeting at the circle. Welcome, everyone.
And I'm Sally Ward. I joined the Circle in 2006, and my focus has been the membership committee. I have been a member of the membership committee, I think probably since I joined. Well, maybe not the first year, but pretty much. And I've chaired Circle membership twice, and it's really near and dear and close to my heart. And I want to welcome everybody and say I am so glad to have you here.
And then I think we have 2 more people, Bonnie and then Sarah Grabo.
I'm Bonnie Steinman. I've been a member of the Circle since 2013. I started reading grants in 2014. I'm still reading grants, and this year my new thing is that I signed up for post grants. So that's my new thing. I'm also on the nominating committee and working with some women to to simplify the grants application for the grantees.
Oh, that's a good
That
idea.
would be a great thing to do.
I'm busy with the Circle.
And we appreciate it, Bonnie. Last year, Bonnie stepped forward as a volunteer and was in charge of sending out all our full circle emails. And so she was invaluable and would even stepped up a couple of days ago to pitch hit at the last minute. So,
Thank you.
and she was the first year I was a grant team reader and grant team leader. She was on my grants team. So thank you, Bonnie.
What year was that, Sally?
That's
I don't remember.
I'm also a grants team leader, and I've completely lost track of when I started doing that.
I could go back. It was before I moved, so it had to be before 2016. So
Okay.
a while ago.
And Sarah.
I'm Sarah Grebo. I joined the Circle last year. So it's been about a year. I'm on the communications committee helping with social media.
Oh, well, thank you. Yeah, that's great. Did that one too. That was a great one. Yeah, I'm sure you're doing better. More. Phyllis did it too. Yeah.
Well, excellent. Well, so thank you all for the introductions, and excited to see everybody here. We have a great program for you. It's just going to be about a 30-minute overview of leadership in the Circle, and then of course there'll be time for Q&A at the end. I did want to let everybody know that this is being recorded. If you don't want your video, picture up there, you can turn off your video. And then afterwards, this program will be in the Circle Library and on our public YouTube channel. So if you have friends who are interested and maybe couldn't join us today, they will be able to watch this afterwards. This presentation was developed about 3 years ago by the Nominating and Leadership Development Committee. But during the program, we'll just call ourselves the Nominating Committee. We already have 3 Susans, so we're trying to streamline. As I said, I'm Susan Hovanec. I'm a co-chair of the Nominating Committee with Susan Pearl. The other members on the committee joining us, just to point out again, Hillary Campodonico, Georgia King, Susan Shubin, and Bonnie Steinman. We also have Suzanne Daggert, Donna Cobb, and Louise Kemper on our committee, but not with us today. We want to thank our 2 Circle co-chairs, Ann Daniels and Sally Ward, for joining us and their ongoing support. And also thank you, Barbara Ebke, as well as member Mary Jo Wise, who will be sharing their personal stories later in the program. And then just a few housekeeping notes for the Zoom. If you have a question, just use the chat function. I mean, we're a small enough group, I guess you could just raise your hand, but we do have a chat function, and we'll be monitoring that throughout the presentation and respond to your questions at the end. Lisa Calixto, who's running our lovely Zoom. Thank you, Lisa. We'll have everybody but the speaker muted. So just so you know, you will be muted. And then we're ready to get started.
Yeah. Lisa, if you want to just bring up the first slide. Well, have you ever wondered who runs the Baltimore Women's Giving Circle and what is expected of the leaders, how they might be selected, and how you might get involved in leadership? And no worries if you're not ready to be a leader at this time. You just wanted to learn about the structure of the circle, you're in the right place. So again, we're just going to take about 20-30 minutes tops to take a look at this. We'll answer some of these questions and then give you a chance to ask some of yours. So we're going to just start with the big picture, if you will. The Baltimore Women's Giving Circle is a very open, it's a very democratic organization where we have 400 plus members, all have an equal voice in the circle and in the grant, equal vote in the grant making process. We're an organization that's run mainly by volunteers. Our goal as a circle is to grant as many worthy projects as we can. And being an all-volunteer organization, this allows us to keep our administrative costs very low. It also gives the members a good opportunity to participate in the grant-making work. Although not required, we do hope that you do join a committee and participate and maybe seek a leadership position at some time. So the circle's leadership is designed to be very fluid and dynamic. Organization, we have committees that have 2 co-chairs, each serving a 2-year term. They're staggered with every year a new committee chair comes on and she can learn the role by the more experienced co-chair perhaps, and it's good. It brings a new wealth of ideas in sharing this. So, and it also makes the transition from year to year pretty smooth about it. The only position that this is not true though for is the committee, the circle co-chairs who come in as a team. And that was also a decision made to have it, I think, to formulate that team a little stronger. So it's ever changing, the leadership. We do encourage everybody, as we said, to participate. And Lisa, I'm going to have the next slide, please. It's funny, it looks a little different from my screen, but anyhow, that it is the correct one. So the steering committee is made up of all the circle officers and the committee co-chairs. So there's 22 members of the steering committee. There you see the 2 circle co-chairs, the secretary, the archivist, the treasurer, and an assistant treasurer. And as you can see from the organizational chart, we're also made up of what we call 8 standing committees. We have the grants, post-grants, education, nominating, and leadership development. We have Grantee Connect, communications, membership, and finally, we have a group that we call READY, or the Racial Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion group. And as a circle member, you are encouraged to join any of these standing committees according to your own interest. A lot of people suggest starting with the grants committee because that's our main work, if you will, and being on a grants team is often helpful, but anywhere where your interest lies is encouraged. The only committee that is not a voluntary, you can not join, is the nominating and leadership development. This committee, our committee, is appointed by the circle co-chairs each year. I'm going to have the next slide, please. The steering committee really functions as the board of directors of the circle. It oversees our management of the circle and all of our operations. And as mentioned before, everybody has a 2-year term. We're 22 members in all, so it's a good sized group with all the officers and the committee co-chairs. And we said the terms are staggered except for the co-chairs. So this circle's work is really guided by the mission of the circle, which is to emphasize supports our organizations for women and children, for their supporting their opportunities for their families in the greater Baltimore area. And the steering committee meetings are filled with very thoughtful discussion and collective decision-making about how we best actualize our mission. We address operational along with governance issues. Operational would include managing our membership database, our website, and our grant management program. Our governance works to include setting up our strategic direction of the circle, which is, of course, important to us, and addressing our social media policies, our membership requirements, which are really our only membership requirement is that you pay your dues, our communication strategies, our grant making processes, and the budget oversight, of course, would be a big responsibility of the steering committee. So the steering committee really meets monthly, September through June. We don't meet in the summertime, but this is often a time when the committee co-chairs will do some planning and also, of course, that budget. So we're going to stop the screen share right now, and we're going to hear from Barbara Epke, who Barbara is the co-chair, as she said, of Post Grants. She's been a circle member, I believe, like 7 years, I saw. And she's going to be sharing some of her personal experiences with being a circle leader. Thank you.
Thank you, Susan. Just hitting my timer. First of all, I'm so glad to see that there are people here who are interested in leadership. And I will say, first of all, that the pathway to leadership at the circle is wide open. I found that circle leadership, we best define ourselves if we can keep the flow going, if we can introduce new people. It's actually designed that way, I think, because of the staggering that you do in co-chairs. But I will tell you that when I retired from a job that I spent far too much time on, I was looking for purpose and giving back. And I had heard about the circle. I immediately joined, but I immediately felt like I wasn't doing much. And the only way that you can really feel like you're part of the circle is to jump in. And I found that that's welcome. It's encouraged. And I've actually been to a number of the prospective member events, and it's so fun to share that openness with new people. So I know some of the people in the meeting are not so new and some are very new, but first thing I would do is just encourage that you jump in. I was shocked at how much I didn't know about nonprofits. And actually a few careers ago, I knew a lot about nonprofits in another world. But I was shocked. I joined Baltimore. I live in Howard County. Baltimore is where the huge need is, and honestly, the huge circle where we can do the most good. I passed Pivot, for instance, every day on my route. I thought it was an IT company. I didn't realize it was a nonprofit to empower people getting out of prison. So there's so much to learn. And I would say, first of all, don't hesitate to jump into a committee, any committee. And of course, I was partial to grants and post grants. I did it at the same time. First of all, they're staggered very differently. Anything you do, you can plan your own schedule around. There's no constancy to it. You can really be creative about how you do it. But grants help me learn who we give money to. And post grants help me learn that once the money's given, what are you going to do? You know, you really need to get in there and hold the hands of grantees if they want that. If they don't, you stand back and let them do what they do best. And I found both just caused me to learn so much. And you learn by doing. One thing leads to another, and the next step is becoming a team leader. Anyone who's been on grants knows that it takes a lot of people, and a grants team is usually 4 to 6. And I did a team leader role. It was so fun. And it was like magical to see these women working together. Post grants is smaller because the hands-on post grants work is very intimate, but you also are working with a team then. And then it's a short hop to saying, hey, I'd like to step up and do a little more. And I did. And you do that in so many ways. Full circle, being a liaison and then stepping up further. Participating in this, I did, I think, 2 years. And I will tell you the things you learn post grants, for instance. I'm the co-chair of post grants last year and this year. And 2 of my favorite stories, everybody knows about OrcKids. You read about it in the paper. Everybody knows about Marion House. Everybody knows the big ones, but there's so much more to know in Baltimore. I had never heard of Soccer Without Borders. And I first thought, well, that sounds pretty lightweight. How did that get voted in? But when I worked with them, what I found is that 2 FTEs, lots of hands-on work, lots of need. They wanted to learn how to measure success, and the rest is history. We've given them so much PR. The other one, real quick before I finish, is Huns Honey. It's a work development program for women of Curtis Bay who have all sorts of trauma, including substance abuse, sexual, etc. But this terribly deprived community, women can drop in and then they can get a job. They are actually paid for working at Huns Honey. And if you go online after this meeting, you will be shocked at how beautiful these products are. I bought a boatload and I give them as hostess gifts and other presents. But the point is they are now in 60 outlets in Baltimore, and they're about to open a store. And some of this, they like to tell us, I hope it's true, is really attributed to us. Not the money, it's what it means to be approved and voted in by the Giving Circle. So I know we'll have time for questions, but I need to allow somebody else time to talk, and I'm at my limit. So thank you for inviting me.
Thank you.
Barbara, thank you. That was so great. And yes, you can find Huns Honey at Whole Foods, actually.
Yeah.
Which is very exciting. Thank you so much. So we will continue the screen share, Lisa. Thanks. And great, wonderful. All right, well, to continue with the program, what is expected of Circle officers? There are 2 Circle co-chairs whose role is comparable to a president or a chair of a board. They serve together for their 2-year term, forming a strong team. The Circle co-chairs provide leadership and oversight to all the Circle activities and are responsible for creating a climate of cooperation and community among our members. As we mentioned, the current Circle co-chairs, Ann Daniels and Sally Ward, are in their 2nd year of a 2-year term. Then we have the archivist secretary role, also a 2-year term. The first year you serve as the archivist, the second you move up to the secretary. The archivist is responsible for electronically archiving the records of the Circle in our Circle library. The secretary is responsible for accurately recording Circle activities, such as taking minutes at the steering committee meetings. Then we have the assistant treasurer and treasurer role, also a 2-year term. serving the first year as assistant treasurer, second moving on to treasurer. These two officers work together to monitor the fiscal health of the circle. They develop and monitor the annual budget for the circle and work closely with the Baltimore Community Foundation to review and reconcile the financial status of the circle. So, since we're fortunate enough to have both Ann Daniels and Sally Ward, the current circle co-chairs, with us for this meeting, we've asked them to tell us what being a circle leader has meant to them. And we jokingly said, can you say it in one sentence or so? So let's see what they come up with. Ann, let's start with you. What has being a circle leader meant to you? Oh, and you're on mute, so we just have to unmute you one quick second. Okay,
No,
there
I
you
just
go.
did it, sorry.
Okay, Ann, no
Not bad,
problem.
yeah. Well, it's been an incredible experience, both leading the full circle and a committee. We are we are a group of really smart, strong, so committed to collaboration group of women that anytime you take a leadership role, there are so many people supporting you and cheering you on. And the folks that did it before you are always there. So it is a leadership role, but you feel very supported and assisted and helped in anything that you do. I've never felt out on a limb or worried that I'm making a decision and no one will follow me or understand. So it's a really incredible experience. And I would highly recommend it.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much. And then we'll move on to your counterpart. And I think, Sally, you may have to unmute yourself. Oh, no, I think you're all set. So, Sally Ward, what is being a leader at the circle meant to you?
Well, I could say ditto because Anne expressed it so well, but I also would say it's been very meaningful. I've been a member since 2006, and I have gotten to know other women who've been circle co-chairs, and I admire them greatly. So I feel very honored that I have joined the ranks of circle co-chairs, but it's also been fun and interesting. And hopefully Anne and I are making an impact as to how the circle moves forward in a positive, collaborative, supportive way. So thank you all for who are interested in learning more about joining this effort to make our circle even better. Thank you.
Wonderful. Well, thank you both. And then we'll continue on with explaining our structure. So we mentioned before that there are 8 standing committees, each with a unique role in the circle. So whatever your background, rest assured, you'll find a committee that is aligned with your interests, talents, and skills. Each standing committee is headed by 2 co-chairs who serve 2-year staggered terms. The responsibilities of the committee co-chairs are to lead and manage the work of the committee and to actively participate in the steering committee meetings. The co-chairs of each committee have a very detailed job description that outlines their specific responsibilities. You can find these job descriptions for all the committee co-chairs on our website. It's the member-only side of the Circle Library under committee responsibilities. And I think we're putting a link to this in the chat box. It's right there. Okay, so to facilitate the all-volunteer structure of the circle, many committees have created subcommittees to help them carry out their functions. I think it's the next slide, Lisa. I thought with the bubbles. We have ovals. There's like bubbles next to each one.
They don't seem to have come through.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, picture we have these really great bubbles that explains it. But anyway, so each of these 8 committees then would have subcommittees underneath them, and then that way you kind of have a path towards leadership. You could join a committee, then maybe lead a subcommittee of that committee, and then possibly move on to be the co-chair of the actual committee. And so maybe when we get this on the Circle Library, we'll show that there are many committees under each of these 8. There are many subcommittees under each of these main standing committees. So for example, and you can't see all the different choices, but I'll just walk you through a few examples. So the Grants Committee recruits 16 to 18 team leaders every year to lead our grant evaluation teams. So being a grant team leader is a great training ground for being a grants committee co-chair. And then another example is education. Can't see it, but there are 3 subcommittees that plan different types of educational events, such as our Full Circle programs, our grantee focus programs, and our Circle Book Club. So heading up one of these subcommittees is a great path to the committee leadership. So we have lots of opportunities for people, lots of ways to dip your toe in the water and get involved. So next slide, and I'll turn it back over to Susan Pearl.
Thanks. So the next topic is like, how are your circle leaders selected? So our nominating committee is really responsible for this smooth transition of leadership. We develop a slate of officers, and we do this and we present it at the Full Circle meeting in May for ratification, or you'll get something in your email, of course. This spring, the nominating committee will slate new officers for an archivist and assistant treasurer, along with suggesting, importantly, our new set of co-chairs. And again, they were the only ones that don't stagger their terms. The nominating committee does this by assist the co-chairs also, I should say, in developing the committee co-chairs, suggesting based upon recommendations that they are actually appointed to their new positions every spring. And the new officers and committee co-chairs do base it upon the recommendations that includes how we come up with this. We actually have conducted interviews of all the current steering committee members, which again was 22, and then the past committee members. So it's over 40 interviews that we've conducted. We'd look at everybody's recommendations and their descriptions of their jobs. We had to try to take in consideration of what they tell us their workload is for that position. So that's pretty much our strategy there. We have a lot of, not a lot of meetings, but a lot of background work, I guess. We also have asked our membership for any of their ideas. We should have gotten, you did get an email from us a couple weeks ago that asked for your recommendations. And it was either you could also self-nominate, or you could nominate somebody that you think would be a great leader. You can still do this anytime by sending us to, again, our email address is nominating at the bwg.org. Yeah. So that's like a formula for all of our emails, or aliases, if you will. So after collecting all these names, we discuss our recommendations and we develop a list of potential candidates. So if I could have the next slide. Thank you. So how could you get interested in the leadership position now or in the future? Of course, you could volunteer for any one of the committees, as we said. Our volunteer opportunities are abundant. And to name a few, the educational committee, I think Susan might have told you, organizes our Full Circle meetings. The membership committee deals with prospective committee members, and they're just abundant there. from that. The membership, besides hosting new members, has events for new members, and, you know, to engage people. And additionally, you might take an active leadership role in a committee. You can certainly starting with grants and being a grant leader is a great way to learn about it. Any of the subcommittees, Barbara mentioned Circle Pivot as one of the organizations we've supported. I just went to a meeting this week hosted by what we call Circle Forum, which is part of the Education Committee. And they arranged for us to visit the grantees. And it was a very moving experience as we watched a group of women that have been previously incarcerated taking on, they were doing job training, and they're highly successful, and it was quite a moving experience. So that's a great one too. So you can feel free to talk to any committee co-chair about their volunteer opportunities and any job responsibilities, along with, surely you want to ask about time commitments. There's also a liaison from our nominating committee to each committee, and you can also speak to them. Again, you're probably getting tired of hearing this, but you can always send us an email nominating anybody that you please, and your link is there. So at this point, I'm going to stop the screen share again, if we can, Lisa, please. And we are going to hear from Mary Jo Weiss. She is the current co-chair of what we call the Ready Committee. And Mary Jo, she pre-recorded her contribution to tonight. So if you can pull that up, please, Lisa. I know she did it. I saw it. There we go.
Can you see the screen right now? The black screen?
Yeah, it's black.
Okay.
There she is.
Hi, I'm Mary Jo Weiss, and I'm happy
But no volume.
leadership.
We need volume.
I joined the Circle in 2015 and immediately signed up.
Need more volume.
Initially, I was a little intimidated. The women on my team.
Oh, can you fix the volume, Lisa?
But of course, I realized.
Start it again.
I have it up as high as I can on my computer. I'm just trying to see. Hold on one second.
Okay.
Give me 1 second to just take a look. It says it's sharing. Okay. Let me try one more. Let me try this real quick. I just changed the setting.
Oh,
Let
great.
me know if you can hear it, okay?
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Mary Jo Weiss, and I'm happy to share my
Now.
leadership. I joined the Circle.
Yeah, I have it checked for sharing sound.
You could actually hear better the first time, but not well.
Yeah. Okay, let me see if I can turn it up a little bit more. If somebody could just give me the thumbs up if it's better.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Mary Jo
Yes.
Weiss. I'm happy to share my pathway to leadership. I joined the Circle in 2015 and immediately signed up to be a grants reader. Initially, I was a little intimidated. The women on my team seemed so knowledgeable, but of course, I realized how collaborative the effort was, and I learned so much from them. And even though initially I didn't have everything it took to be a great grants reader, as a team, we did. And I think that's really the spirit of the Circle. After several years of being a grant reader, I was asked to be a team leader. And again, I was a little bit hesitant, but nominating assured me they would put at least one very experienced reader on my team. So with that assurance, I again signed up. I had a wonderful time, wonderful teams. learned so much, and had a lot of support, both from team members and from general circle members. I think I called Anita Palmer. It's about a dozen times with technical questions, but with her usual good cheer and competence, she answered all my questions. And in fact, we became friends. I think I probably was the person who called her the most that year. From there, I went on to be asked to be a grants co-chair. It was a very challenging time. We were in the middle of COVID, but by this time I trusted in the collaboration of the circle. And so I said yes. It was a wonderful experience. And I also served on the steering committee, where I gained a broader sense of the circle's work and also of the larger philanthropic community, and really the questions and challenges that community is wrestling with right now, which added a whole new dimension to the grants process for me. Currently, I am one of the co-chairs of READY, which I think might be the most collaborative committee we have in the whole circle. We are working with other committees and through other committees to try to raise questions about racial diversity, equity, and inclusion. And it's just very, very rewarding work. I'm getting to know so many people and learning so many different viewpoints, which has really been the hallmark of my circle experience. I encourage anyone who's hesitant, like I was, to go ahead and jump in. There will be kind, competent, wonderful women to mentor you, to support you, to work alongside you. And you will learn so much and make such wonderful friendships and gain such new perspectives. So it's been a wonderful pathway, and I hope your journey will be equally wonderful. Thank you.
Oh, that's great. Well, Lisa, thank you for your persistence there. I think Mary Jo was on a train to New York City at this time, so that's why she pre-recorded, but that was wonderful, and I'm glad we could all hear it. So just sort of to wrap up, we have a resource page. I think that's on the screen share next. That Lisa, if you could just go one PowerPoint ahead, and it will show the resource page about how we work. Next slide. Oh no, here it is. Sorry. You can even see my script. But anyway, here's our resource page with the committee descriptions, committee meeting date, and the steering committee descriptions. Whoops.
Sorry, I'm going to put it, it took the wrong screen. Sorry about that.
No problem. Thanks so much. So here it is, easier to see. And like I said, this video will be on our YouTube channel. You just go to YouTube and enter BWGC in the search box. So for those of you with other friends interested, you can certainly send them this a screenshot of this page, or go to our YouTube channel to watch this again. So that's the end of the formal presentation. And then next we'll just see if anyone has any questions, if Lisa, if you see anything in the chat box, but especially for our guests who joined us today, if you want to just even raise your hand, or we could do the gallery view one last time and just chime in with any final thoughts or questions that anybody has. We covered everything you need to know. Excellent. Yes. Yes, Phyllis.
Well, my final thoughts
Yes.
are, number one, I learned a lot. I learned many things that I never knew.
Okay.
Sally and Anne know that I've been asking, I just, I need a bigger picture.
Yep.
But I also want to stress something that Mary Jo mentioned. I have found, as I've partnered with people to chair a team of some sort, that I have found that my co-chair has always had the skills that I didn't have, or, we just really complemented each other. In READY, I was doing the conversations, and my partner had just the right skills that I needed, and vice versa. So that was all. It's been very, very good in anything that I've done with the circle.
Wonderful. Thank you.
And I want to thank you all for this. That is great.
Well, great. Well,
I also want to thank you very much. It was very helpful, very educational. I really appreciate the time that you put into this. And I also learned a lot, so thanks.
Thank you for coming today.
I just want to mention that at the bottom of all the emails that you get from the circle, there are the icons for Facebook and YouTube. It's the BWGC link to those. So you might want to, you can use those also to get to various places you need to, including the website. Our website's there too.
yeah, that's a good point, Bonnie. And the other thing is you could start following the circle on Instagram for those of you on Instagram, and you could sort of see things that are being posted as well.
Maybe by Sarah.
Yes, exactly, Sarah. I'll put you to work. All right, well then, we're so thrilled that you all joined us and that hopefully you'll be thinking about possible leadership roles for yourself and or people you know in the circle. We always encourage people to nominate names of other leaders that people they've worked well with. And like I said, we're always here. Email us at nominating. Susan and I would love to chat with you. And that's it for this evening. So have a great night and a wonderful holiday season. Thank you so much.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank
Have
you.
a good holiday.
Thanks, everybody.
On December 13th at the Full Circle meeting.
Thank you, Anne. Yes.
Good
next
reminder.
week.
Mhm.
So to be continued. Thank you all.
Thank
Well
you.
done, Susan.
And my dog didn't even bark, so that's good news. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
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 Bye.